Good evening. Just a wrap-up of the council meeting for the City of Grand Rapids for Monday, October 24th, 2016. We did not have a work session today, which was a little rare for this time of year, but sometimes it's nice that we just had a council meeting. Just a couple of the top things on the consent agenda, and a lot of times we go through that consent agenda and there's a lot of things on there, and people may have glossed over as I presented that as a slate, because these are things that have been approved in its entirety by the council. Thus, it's on the consent agenda, and it comes up for a unanimous vote at the end. One of the ones is we resolution. We accepted $6,400 grant from the Minnesota Board of Firefighting Training and Education for the Grand Rapids Fire Department. That's going to help out there with them on some of the training and education processes they do. We adopted a resolution closing our debt service fund from 2009B, transferring that over into the refunding bond, and remaining balance went into the capital project fund permanent improvement revolving fund, and that amount of money was $85,845.60. So that's once again cleaning up of books and some numbers in there into some general funds. We approved a correction to the law enforcement labor services for Local 345 under our collective bargaining agreement within the city. We got a curling club event coming up in December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So if you're a curler, I look and encourage you to get out for that. This evening, our department head report was by Jeff Davies from Public Works, and I think he gave a very in-depth report on where the city stands from some improvements in the work that they've been out there doing. So far through almost 10 full months of the city's calendar, the work that they've done in parks, the work that they've done on streets. I think one of the things that struck me is the amount of work to overlaying and some of the streets within the city of Grand Rapids, fixing up some of the worst spots and worst parking lots that we've had. Not all of it came from our road maintenance dollars. A lot of it came from some funds that are strictly under the Public Works side. So if you recall back about a month ago, we'd talked about it, and we'd spent about $115,000, and that's that money that we spent in stretches, one block here, one block there, improving sidewalks and specific portions of a street that can't wait to come up on the capital improvement plan to look at where and how do we recondition that piece of street. Maybe it's a full overlay, maybe it's a rebuild, maybe it's a partial overlay, but we make an assessment and we try to continue to do certain portions of streets every year under those projects. Our new engineer, Matt Wagworth, was up, and he'd had a couple of them. Supplemental agreement for $7,000 on the 5th Street and 8th Avenue. As we were doing this street out here, it took a while, and we had to do some side street work there, so there was a supplemental additional work that needed to be accounted for in just over almost $7,600. Dale Anderson talked a little bit about some in-kind labor and material that the city is going to be doing in support of the Itasca County Family YMCA, the Pickleball Association, and the Basketball Association and facility at the Y that's going to improve their ability to attract and run some tournaments in town. That is going to be good if you want to have heads on pillows and seats on the cushions at eating establishments in town. You have to support the efforts out there by different groups that bring hundreds and hundreds of thousands of, not hundreds of thousands, but certainly thousands of people into the community on a yearly basis. I don't want to stretch a number myself, but it does bring thousands of people into the community in some different areas to enjoy what we think is a wonderful community, and to enjoy those events, whether it's Tall Timber Days, whether it's the car show, whether it's pickleball tournaments, whether it's hockey tournaments. I believe that people come into town and they leave with a renewed sense of what a community can look like in outstate Minnesota. The last thing that I just wanted to touch on was out at the airport, and I think this is worth finishing up with. Med Valley is come into town, and they've been here and they've been doing some flight work. So When someone is unfortunate enough that they need to be transferred from Grand Itasca Hospital and Clinic, and they cannot be transferred by ambulance, or they need to be transferred quicker and stuff by a plane, so a fixed wing plane. A helicopter can't get out, but a fixed wing aircraft can. Med Valley has come into town. They're building almost a 10,000 square foot hangar. That hangar will be on the airport property. They will employ 7+ employees over there for Med Valley. They will pay property taxes on that hangar and the business and stuff they do. So it's a good addition to Grand Rapids, but it's also a good addition to the activities out at the Grand Rapids Itasca County Airport, in that we can continue to seek some funding on the federal side of funds and stuff to support and continue to support that airport out there. Now, I understand, and I would be kidding myself and I would be kidding you if I thought that this project and some others are going to lead to flight services back into Grand Rapids. There are a lot of things that would have to happen in order to encourage the major carriers to start including flight services and stuff out of Grand Rapids. I think for now we are going to use the Hibbing-Chisholm Airport, and that's fine. You know, it's not that far of a drive, but we are continuing to try and make our airport as viable from a resource standpoint for businesses and stuff to come in and take a look at. So this Med Valley was a great addition to the airport. This was the last meeting prior to elections, and I would just like to leave you with this. I would encourage everyone to get out and use your given right to cast a ballot for whom and whoever you think is your candidate of choice, both on the national, state, and local levels. Please get out and vote. It's a privilege that we all have, and it only works as a country and a community is if more and more of us continue to exercise our right to get out and do that. So coming up on November 8th, get out and vote. And we will be talking to you, I believe, sometime after the elections with our next council meeting in November. So have a good evening. It's a great night out there. Get out, take a little bit of a walk. But I look forward to talking with you in 2 weeks.